You've read and it's been on TV and you've heard about it here a couple of years ago, the new Scientology Community Centre up in Knockline, southwest Dublin, 6 million to buy and apparently another 6 million, apparently state-of-the-art auditorium, absolutely brilliant. And we had a letter this morning from the mother of a son, and she says, my son's dancing competition is taking place in the Scientology Centre in Dublin. The children have been training for this. I don't want to scupper it, but why would they be doing it in this place? I asked the teacher if any of the fee goes to Scientology. She said it goes towards the hire of the building, and she's basically saying, I don't want any of my money going to the Church of Scientology. Now, Janet, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you, Joe?
Good, thanks. Your dance school went to a competition.
Yeah, my daughter's in a dance school and they attended one of the dance competitions in the Church of Scientology.
Well, just explain it to people what it looks like.
Oh, well, we used to actually do our dancing in that building. It's a beautiful building, it always has been, and they took it over, and there's a big auditorium in the middle of it, so that's basically where we did all the dance. They did the dancing on the stage.
And a modern auditorium, what, like the Helix or the Bord Gosh, or?
Well, it'd be a smaller version of that.
Okay.
I think it holds about 2,000 people, I'm not sure.
Wow, the Bord Gosh is 2,200.
Is it? Well,
yeah.
Then maybe it's about it's big, but it's not huge.
But it's state of the art. It's modern.
Ah, yeah.
Well, insofar as you
all
can gather,
lights
lights,
and all,
sound,
but
cameras.
that was all there before they moved in, but they've added extra.
Okay, so what was the competition? Why was it held there in the Church of Scientology?
Well, as far as I'm aware, is an awful lot of those dance competitions, because I presume that ladies' one is. It's like hip-hop, lyrical, that kind of dancing. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of our competitions have been moved there because the actual church is charging a very small fee to the organisers to get them to move there.
So are they undercutting the Helix and Liberty Hall and...
Yeah, that's as far as I'm aware.
And what was it like being in the building? Is there much evidence of Scientology there?
Oh, yeah. When you walk in first, there's all the shelves of books and there's people all around. There's people at every single door in the place, going into the bathrooms, all downstairs. There's people at all the doors, going into the changing room. There's people in the bathrooms, in the Scientology outfits. What's
the Scientology outfit?
It's like a waistcoat and there's kind of a gold tie and trousers.
And could the children pick up information on the Church of Scientology?
They could have, yeah.
Okay. So you reckon, well, we'll try and find out, you reckon their fees for the standard of auditorium that it is, it's a good location near the M50. Their fees are a fraction, it seems, or I heard 1/5 of what a similar venue would charge.
I'm aware. The fee is a fraction, and that's why. No. And there's very few of these particular competitions in the circuit around Ireland. So you have, say, 5 or 6, and if you want, we were very apprehensive of letting the children do it. But then you have to see the other side of it too, that it is that competition, and when you're actually in the auditorium, it is only the dance people.
Yeah, but I'm looking at, they've an incredible video made of the building itself.
It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it's state-of-the-art. But when you go in through the main door, it's like an exhibition about Scientology with L. Ron Hubbard. And
they have the big reception in the middle. Witnesses. They have a coffee shop over to one side, and then on the other side it's all shelves and stuff with all their books and pamphlets and...
Okay. And the auditorium, I'm looking at it now, it looks absolutely magnificent. The auditorium, it's 1,000-seater, by the way, which is way up there in terms of size. Is that where they do their services, their church services from? I presume it is it?
Well, they don't do. They do their shows,
their readings
like that.
Or whatever, yeah.
They don't do an official church service, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I thought someone stands up and gives a lecture or whatever. They say their GAA pitches are available to the local community. The gym is open if you want to join the gym.
Well, that's all open now since I've done. It was last year I did that dance competition.
Now, did anyone in your group say, why are we giving money to the Church of Scientology?
We did, and we missed one of the competitions because of that. And then when the girl in charge of our dancing realised that a lot of the competitions were going to be moved there, we were kind of between a rock and a hard place. We didn't know what to do, and there was a percentage of us who didn't want to do it. And then it was decided that we would do it, and I'm not going to hold my daughter back. She absolutely loves it, but when you're kind of left with a choice that it's either that or you don't do any competition, it's very hard, when the organisers move to them places. And
see, the argument could then be made that, in fact, because they're charging, we heard 1/4 of what a similar venue would charge in Dublin, you could argue, well, the Church of Scientology are subsidising the dance competition. Do you follow me? They're hardly, if they're charging 1/4 of what another venue in Dublin is charging, that means they're either not paying their staff or they're making a loss, or a bit of both.
Probably a bit of both.
So that's what people, I presume that's what people, like the next Sunday there's a family day. It's Family Education Festival, and there's a free magic show.
Oh, they're always doing free,
and there's
free
bingo,
stuff.
There's bingo. No, but
they're always doing free stuff. All the free magic, Christmas things, Halloween things, always doing free stuff to try and get people into the place.
You see, I presume they would argue, like, we're not proselytising, we're not pushing it into people's faces. So what's the problem? And we're actually giving a magnificent state-of-the-art venue for a very cheap price.
Yeah, well, they would argue that, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, in terms of the dance competition, was there any members of the Church of Scientology in the auditorium?
There was one guy at the door who, at one stage, I was looking at the running order on my phone, because I don't generally take pictures of them dance competitions, because we get pictures from the dance teacher. And I was sitting up the back, and he came over to me and he asked me to delete what I was looking at on my phone.
Right.
And I just asked him, I said to him, delete the running order? And he said, yes, ma'am, will you please delete what you're looking at? And I was like, it's the running order of the dancing. And he said, well, there's one out on the door. And I said, so are you going to ask every mother in the place who has a running order on their phone to delete it? So I just asked him, I said, do you work for the dance company or are you working for the building? And he said, oh, I work for the Church of Scientology. Right. And I said, well, I won't be deleting that off my phone for you or anybody else who works here. And he said, well, would you delete it if the organisers ask you to delete it? I said, I might think about it, but it's only a running order and I'm not going to delete it. And off he went anyway, and he came back about 10, 15 minutes later, and he apologised to me and said that I could leave it on my phone, and the whole... Oh, he was so sorry for saying it to me, and even when I went out to get a cup of tea, he was over, I'm so sorry. And later that evening, before the results came out, I was outside, and I saw the girl that runs it, and I just happened to say it to her. And she said that he went over to her and told her that a member of the public had made a complaint because I was taking pictures of her daughter on the stage. Now, if somebody had said that, I would have shown them my phone. They could have flicked through my pictures. I have no problem whatsoever, because I'm very anal about anybody taking pictures of my children. And that would have been no problem. But no time was it said to me that somebody was accusing me of taking pictures.
Okay. By the way, do you have to be a Scientologist to get a job in the church? In the building? In the auditorium?
As far as I know, they only employ Scientologists or people who are waiting to do courses, who want to do courses, and they'll give them a job. But I don't think they pay the proper rates of wages or anything. I've heard that they only pay €50 a week or €60 a week to these people.
Okay. Anyway, let me bring in Dan Connolly, who lives out near the Scientology auditorium in Knockline. Dan, good afternoon.
How are you, Joe?
Were you aware that they're renting out this magnificent auditorium for next to nothing?
No, I wasn't aware of that now.
And there's dance competitions, young people's and various magic shows, the whole thing. Go ahead.
It doesn't really surprise me that they're doing stuff like that. I mean, there's always kind of something going on in and around the Scientology Centre. Like, sure, they even have like Christmas fairs and stuff in the local grounds and stuff. So it doesn't really surprise me that they have stuff like that going on as well.
And what about the history books you refer to? What's that about?
Yeah, so like I know a few schools in the area would have gotten they received book donations, and they obviously just weren't aware of the origin of the books or whatever. And so on closer inspection then, once they were obviously going through the books, they found a lot of references to Scientology, and I'm not too sure what your man's name is. I think it's Hubbard or something.
L. Ron Hubbard, yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard, so quickly had to recall them from the pupils who were in the school anyway.
And what do you mean? They were curriculum history books, but they had...
Yeah, I think so. That's what I heard.
Well, had they just inserted leaflets, or did they?
No, like they were printed.
Okay.
Yeah, now interesting enough now. I know that a few of the schools in the area were subsequently warned about taking book donations after that then.
Okay, and are the local GAA clubs using the pitches?
I'm not too sure. I don't think they are.
Okay, well, they're open to them. Well, maybe there'd be no harm in that.
Joe Duffy!
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And Joe at RT.ie. Mairead, you say the Scientologists are tenacious when they get the names and addresses and contact details for young people. We're talking about this fantastic new 1,000-seater auditorium, state-of-the-art they have up in Knockline that they're renting out for next to nothing to young people's groups for dancing competitions, etc., etc. Go ahead, Mairead.
Yes, I didn't know about that wonderful building they're renting out, but I heard of them for the first time about 35 years ago. And I had a daughter who was in art school at that time. She was, I would say, a rather timid girl, unsure of herself, and used to walk around at lunchtime, surveying buildings and other items of interest to an art student. And one day, somebody standing at a railing obviously picked this unsureness up as she passed, and spoke to her about this Scientology, and invited her in to give her some literature, which he did, and asked her to read over some things he gave, and asked her to call again. Now, when she came home, she told us, her parents, about it, and we advised her not to. We didn't like the sound of it. And for year after year, over all those years, she's long since left home and has her own family with a different address. But we get letters for her ever since.
Well, they're very wealthy church if they're able to hire out that auditorium at such cheap prices. Okay, thanks.